It's an exciting day. You've just brought home your first clarinet. You have these grand plans of playing all the time and torturing your siblings, except you're not quite sure how to put it together. Well, here you go. I'm going to show you exactly how to put it together. Make sure you follow these instructions precisely, because if you don't, you could end up causing some damage to your clarinet. You might not see it, but it will be there, and it will affect your playing, and your parents will have to pay to get it fixed, which they won't be happy about because they just spent a whole bunch of money to rent this thing or to buy it. So take good care of it. First thing, open your clarinet on the floor, always. Now you might think that's a little bit weird. Why couldn't you open it up on a table? Table's flat, so is a floor. Why couldn't you open it on a chair? Chairs can be flat, chairs could be cushioned. Here's why. If a clarinet falls off of a table, or it rolls off of a table, or it gets knocked off of a table, it's going to hit the floor, and that's going to cause damage. If a clarinet falls off a chair, or rolls off a chair, or gets knocked off a chair, it's going to cause damage because it's going to hit the floor. So if you start off on the floor, it's not going to go anywhere, okay? Well, it might, shouldn't. So first thing, on the floor. Then, make sure you know which way to open up your clarinet. I know for me, I need to have the rounded portion on top, and there's also a logo there to tell me that's also the top. Your box may be the same, or it might be different. Check with your music teacher. So I have it flat on the floor, and I open it up. There we go. I'll put my cleaning swab to the side. Now, the first thing you should do is get your reed wet, and you do that by sucking on it. You're not a squirrel, don't chew it, but you suck on it. You just have it in the corner of your cheek, as if you have a lolly, okay? So, it's like this. You look kind of silly, and it feels kind of silly, but it helps you play better. I need to talk through this whole video, so I'm not going to do this part, but normally I would be. We're going to start with the upper stack and the lower stack. The upper stack is usually the one that's close to you. You know it's the upper stack because there's usually a logo. You have this teardrop shaped key, and then you have these 4 side keys, okay? Finally, you have the bridge key right here. Now watch this. The bridge key moves up and down like this, okay? Or actually, more to the point, it moves in and out, okay? Bridge key is very important, and this is really important. Do you see that covered key there? Let me pull it down a bit. There. This covered key here, I need to make sure I press that while I'm putting my clarinet together and while I'm taking it apart. The lower stack is this one here, and you know it's the lower stack because you have these 4 keys down at the bottom, and then you have these 3 side keys here, okay? And that bridge key I was showing you has to line up on this side. Here's how that looks. I put the lower stack in my left hand. My left hand is my non-dominant hand. So if you're actually left-handed, you're gonna do the opposite of me. And I have it in my left hand, and I hold it away from the keys and the rods, okay? Because I don't want to accidentally bend those or squish them. The upper stack, I put into my dominant hand, or my right hand. And you want to use your thumb to press on that key that's going to lift the bridge key for you, okay? And when we're putting it together, we need to make sure that as we're putting it together, we're going to push a little bit and wiggle, push and wiggle. We're never going to let the side keys touch each other. So it's not going all the way around. It's just a little back and forth wiggle. Watch this. So we push and wiggle, push and wiggle, push and wiggle. And now, do you see how that bridge key there is starting to line up? If I had it down, it would run right into each other, and that would cause damage. So I make sure I lift it up, push and wiggle, push and wiggle, push and wiggle, push and wiggle. Now it's lined up, and I can let go. Next part. I'm going to take the bell. The bell goes on the bottom, okay? Same thing. push and wiggle. Okay, push and wiggle, push, wiggle. If your clarinet's brand new, this whole pushing and wiggling thing may be tough. The cork needs to get worn in a little bit. So you might need to apply cork grease every time you play at first. Not all the time, okay? But it's just enough to get it so that you can push and wiggle easily. Now I've got a whole bunch of my clarinet ready, but I'm still not quite there yet. I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to actually put it in the case. Sit it on the case with the keys facing up. The keys are facing up, they can't get damaged, okay? Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ligature. Your ligature may look different, but I'm going to take the ligature off the mouthpiece. I'll just set that inside the case so it doesn't get lost or stepped on or sat on. Mouthpiece, barrel. So push those in together. Okay? Then barrel goes on upper stack. Okay, making sure not to twist anything else. Push that one on. Make sure that the back of your mouthpiece, so that's the part with the hole, is lined up with the thumb hole here, okay? Then I'm going to put my ligature on. Now some teachers may say put the reed first and then the ligature. Other teachers will say put the ligature and then the reed. Listen to the steps your teacher gives you. So, that reed you've been sucking on, okay? So here it is in your mouth. Now it's time to put that on. So I take it out of my mouth, and what I'm going to do is I slide the ligature up just a little bit, okay? Then the flat part of the reed has to touch the flat part of the mouthpiece. But what I do is I slide it just inside. I'm not going to touch that tip, okay? It's like a pencil lead. It's really fragile. So I slide it in, pulling it down with my thumb, not touching the tip at all. And what I want to do is I want to line it up, okay? So you can just barely see a little sliver of black over the top. And once I have it lined up properly, then I'm going to tighten my ligature. Not too tight, but tight enough that it's not going to slip, okay? So it's what we call thumb tight. Only thing left to do now is a step that I can't do, and that is to put your mouthpiece cap on. I don't have a mouthpiece cap. I lost it because I didn't put it away one day when I should have. Lesson learned. So whenever you're not playing, so if you're sitting in class and it's not your turn to play, put your mouthpiece cap on, okay? But now, my clarinet is put together, and I'm ready.